never love you back.
Order 23.
The streets will never love you back. Hey guys, I'm sorry about the delay. I've been trying to download this video to talk about this robbery in Staten Island. And it brings so much more to the video. This way you can understand that there was 5 guys, they were caught on camera. It was a very well-planned job, and I couldn't download it. I reached out to like 5 people to help me. They said they couldn't do it. So I'm actually going to start taking some Apple classes because I need to learn more about this stuff. I really do. You know, some of these YouTubers, what they do is they, they know a lot about this, because some of them don't have nothing else to do. I have a life. I have family. I have a job. I have to take care of my children. There's so much going on in my life. But I definitely want to know so much more about this, how to download some videos, how to do other things. But I got Don Berlin here with me. My pal, Don Berlin. He's my friend, okay? And I'm very proud to call him my friend. So, this YouTube thing, a lot of people want to slander people, talk bad about people. This is a guy that has been nothing but showed me how to do things the right way. Good advice, good people, God-loving, and I'm glad I co-host him once a week. Okay, here he is, Don Berlin.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Jimmy. I appreciate your kind words, and good to see you again. And hello, everybody in the chat. And I apologize, about all of these technical problems, but Jimmy's got a new setup going, and it just takes a lot of practice, and especially with these complex downloads and whatever. But I'll tell you what, as I said in the chat, Jimmy, I'll get a copy of the link, and I'll post it in the chat, and everybody can kind of like follow, look at it when they can. It's an interesting story, though.
Yeah, it really is an interesting story.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share with everybody because it happened on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Out of all the days. And it was a very well-planned robbery. And you know what? It was successful. They got $2.5 million in watches. Now, the watches have all the serial numbers, as we were talking about, so they're going to be hard to get rid of. But the thing is, you know what? If someone came to my house and said, Jimmy, here's a $40,000 watch. You got $5,000? I'm going to get $5,000 up to get the $40,000 watch.
Let me ask you a question. Based on what you saw in the video, with the 5 guys and how well organized they were and how fast they got in and how fast they got out. I mean, in your opinion, like from what you saw, did that look like a professional job, or was it like professional burglars that had some experience, or was it like maybe even like Lufthansa, that type of, organized crime burglar crew?
Well, you know what? I don't think it was anything like Lufthansa. Lufthansa eventually, it was an inside job. They knew somebody from the inside. I think these guys, typically, it reminds me of me and my old crew. Okay, that's why I look so much into this. Plus, it's close to home. It's in Staten Island.
Yeah, right.
It's a jewelry store that fixes watches, all expensive, high-quality watches, Patek Rolex, all the high-quality watches. So you know what? I mean, I put myself in their shoes. So if I was to do a robbery like this, I would scope it out. I would watch it. I would go in. Eventually I'd probably get my watch fixed and see what's going on. But it was very planned out, very clever. They got away with it. They got away with a safe too, $160,000 in cash. some jewelry, a lot of jewelry, over $2.5 million in jewelry. So just imagine, these watches, what they look like. They must be beautiful watches,
Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand about this robbery because watches are highly traceable because of all of the, first off the casings are marked, and secondly, um, the wheels and the works within the watch are oftentimes with Petit Philippe especially, and some of these other high end, watches or whatever, they laser, etch the serial number and so forth onto the wheels and what have you. So it's kind of like, what are you going to do with something like that? It's easy to detect them. I mean, unless, let me ask you a question, Jimmy. Is that worth it to like? Is there much gold in those kinds of watches, such as they would just the hell with the watch and just burn, melt it all down? Would that be the
You know
purpose?
what? Some of these watches are solid gold.
Right,
I
right.
mean, some of them are worth $30,000, $40,000. You get a solid gold watch, that's $30,000, $40,000.
Yeah, right.
And
Right.
but the thing is, they have serial numbers on them.
Yeah.
So, and also what they did was they took all the video footage of them inside, but there was an extra video clip of them. And I'll tell
Mm,
you, what, they look like they're young guys. And I don't say that they do this all the time. I think what they did was they scoped this place out and they said, you know what, let's do this. I'm saying, I mean, I
yeah.
didn't see any they weren't armed. I didn't see any guns or anything. And the thing is, what, when you do something with a gun, it's a lot more time than doing something without a gun.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I mean, so I'm sure they were thinking about that too. That's an extra 5, 10 years with a gun.
Yeah. But here's the thing. You
And
know.
for example, if they would have got caught, now it's only a burglary, and
Yeah.
they only get charged by like the $2.5 million. I'm saying,
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
what you stole. So
Yeah.
I mean, their charges maybe looking at maybe not even 10 years because
Right.
there's no violence involved.
Right, right, right. Yeah. And while it's a breaking and entering, it's a conspiracy. If they move the stuff through interstate commerce, it's interstate transportation of stolen goods and whatever. So you could rack up the federal time on something like that if they could get federal jurisdiction. But by and large, you're right. It's basically a burglary. Thing is that in this day and age, with as many different types of sciences that can be brought to bear to catch those burglars, I don't know if they're going to get away with this for very long. I would tend to have my doubts, and here's the reason why. You know, while the clip that you sent me shows, and the audience will see for themselves when we drop the link. But while they are all dressed in black and black clothing and so forth, so their whole bodies are covered, but DNA sheds from a lot of different things: your face, your nose, your breathing, from within your gums, from within your ears, and so on and so forth. It has a shedding quality to it, and when they're looking for DNA in a scene like that, if they wanted to, and I'm sure they're gonna, it's very easy to take swabbings and capture the DNA. So if any of these guys have ever been arrested before, with shedding DNA, they're going to be easily identified. I mean, that's just one area that
Let me just
you got to think about.
Josephine Colombo. Sorry, guys, I'm a bit lost. Did this happen recently? Yes, it happened on Memorial Day. Okay, and then I got New York Dad over here. He just said something. He said, "Hey, the owner." He said something about the owner.
Dad
New
over
York
here.
Dad.
He
The,
just said something.
the New York, the owner of the watches is in the life, so I would think it was an insurance job. So I mean,
Mm,
that's another thing to consider. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna, look at everything what went on over here, but I think that these guys eventually are gonna get caught. This is what I
yeah,
think. Okay,
yeah,
because I think today with the surveillance and once the feds or the local police put some heat on you, and the thing is, what are you gonna do with all these watches? Where are you going with them?
right, exactly. It's kind of like it's one thing if this were, like the Lufthansa case, one of the most famous of all. Certainly not any longer the biggest one of all, but for what it's worth, was really the greater majority was all cash. So easy to get rid of. Watches. I mean, what do you do with watches? You can't sell them really without them being detected. And the other thing is, if you melt them down, it's a fraction of the value of the watch itself, you know? So, like, I don't understand the sense of it.
They got 160,000 in cash, and
Yeah,
the rest in jewelry. Which, you know what?
right,
I'm sure, I'm sure they'll find a fence to get rid of it.
right.
With a good price, 200. You got 2.5 million. I mean, they might take a $500,000 for everything,
Yeah,
just to get rid of it quick.
right, right. And here's the other thing: too many guys. Okay, five guys.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's going to happen? One of those guys one day is going to get pinched for something else, completely different, and that's the end of the other four. So, you,
There you go, Don.
yeah, right. So there's so many different ways in which this crew is going to get nabbed. Notwithstanding the heist. I just wonder whether or not it was a commissioned event. In other words, whether or not they were contracted for this particular burglary. Um,
Well,
but again,
I'm gonna tell you, and just by that's why I wanted to put the video up. Just by
yeah,
just by viewing the video, okay?
yeah,
And the video, you can look at the video at like Staten Island, Memorial Day, Robbery, Rolex Patek Philippe watch.
yeah,
It'll probably come up. But just looking at the video, how comfortable these men were going in there. There wasn't
yeah,
no like running around, adrenaline rush. Like they took their time doing everything, and they took everything out of there so easy
right,
and simple. I
right,
mean, if I'm in a place, I'm looking at time. Okay, I have to
right.
get this done within a certain time because you know what? Sooner or later, time's going to run out.
I just copied, I think is in Boston J, maybe you can go offline and look at that link if I posted the right one. I just posted the link to the main story, and I'm gonna post another one in a second here so everybody can kind of follow along here. There's two of them. One's by Crime Stoppers, and they're both YouTube videos, okay? But we're not because see that's the problem, Jimmy, is that if you show another YouTube video on your channel, you could get into grief. So, but you can't if you just do the link. So I put two links in the chat a second ago. Okay,
They're
and then
beautiful.
everybody can play them. Yeah, so they can play them on their own time. And then Boston J or
And
maybe somebody else can, maybe Jesse, if Jesse's around, if she can take a look at those two links and see if those are the two links to the story. There's two news stories, and you'll see what we're talking about.
yeah. But I also want to give a couple of shout outs to
Yeah,
Josephine Colombo. She's in Australia. Thank you for showing up. What time is it in Australia anyway, right now?
12 hours from Eastern time, I think, roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
No, I'm sorry, I take that back. That's Bangkok. I have to say I don't know. Yeah.
Gary Monteleone, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Jersey girl, New York dad. It's always good to see you. New York dad, I think you got a wrench. Scott H, A Scott H, Philly Bob, Boston J, my guy. How are you? Gordano Inc. Jesse Roth, how are you? Lollipops. Okay, Josephine Colombo says it's 8:30 a.m. Sunday morning right now.
8:30, so it's 10 hours.
Okay, 10 hours. But Don, not to change the subject, and if we get that link, it'd be good, we could show it. But I also want to talk about friendships.
Mm,
It's very important because a lot of people today, it's hard to find a good friend, a real
yeah,
friend. On my 10 fingers, if I could find one true friend, I have many, because it's hard to find a friend today in this planet Earth. It really is going on today with this internet, social media nonsense, all this fake shit, because that's what it is, all fake. Okay. The
yeah,
real is over here, the fake is in there. Okay. But that's
yeah.
what we're talking about, friendship.
So, one of the reasons why I thought about this topic is, two reasons. A, what makes a friend and what defines a friend. I always talk about, how do you know when you've met your first best friend ever in your lifetime? And my definition of your first best friend is that person who brings out from within you every good feeling about yourself, every love within yourself that you have for yourself, and every good thing that you've done for other people. That's what your best friend is the person who brings out from within you all of your good qualities. And and your worst enemy is that person who brings out from within you everything you hate about yourself, all of the anger you have towards yourself and towards others, towards the world, and what have you. And those are the people to run from. My view of friendships is this: nobody is going to, no third party is going to interfere in my friendships with another person. It is reprehensible for me to believe that some third party is going to dictate to me or my friend that we can't be friends. It's reprehensible. Let me give you an analogy, and most especially for those people who have served in the military or the DOD or the IC and what have you. And then, Jimmy, you can kind of relate it to how it is, in your former life or current life, and that is this. So if you're in the trenches of warfare, okay, and you're fighting the good fight as a war fighter, the guy that is next to you in that fight, in the trenches, okay, had better be your friend. He had better be watching your back. He had better be covering for you, okay, because your life depends on it, and his life depends on you. And that's what we talk about when we talk about the band of the brethren. This is one of the reasons why that we are trained in my community to care for the people who are left behind, and to care for our friends and what have you, because they are the ones who we would never, ever, it is not even within our DNA to leave them on the side of the mountain. The Marines will never leave a fellow Marine on the hill alone or dead. They will never, ever do that. So to anybody who may think for even a moment that I'm going to leave a friend of mine on the hill, okay, you are dreaming today, you are dreaming forever. It is never going to happen. It is contrary to everything I believe in as a human being. And that really is what my view is of friendships. So Jimmy, I'd like to hear what your view is too.
Well, I'll tell you, my view is, when you're growing up, and my experience that I've been through in my lifetime, losing friends, my friends killing my friend, and my own friends dying, coming across a friend in today's world is very hard. First of all, you don't want to open up to somebody that's going to repeat what you're going to tell them. Whether it's heartache that's going on in your life, maybe you lost somebody. So to open up to somebody, they have to be a friend, right? To vent to somebody and talk to them in confidence, they got to be a friend. Because I'm not going to talk to anybody in confidence where I think that conversation is going to go somewhere else. So it's very hard to find a friend in today's age. And I try to teach my kids about this, and I try to be sturdy on it because I understand that, these kids really don't know too much. But when I see, say a bunch of kids hanging out and another kid bullying somebody, that's not a friend. A friend is exactly what you said, Don, is someone that's looking out for my best interest. Okay.
Yeah.
Could be the worst person in the world, but you know what? You're going to tell me, Jimmy, you know what? This is what you need to do. You know what? Go for a test. Go get your, your tractor trailer driver's license. Someone is going to put you in the right direction and has your best interest. So anybody that has a voice that's telling you different or giving you negative advice, I tell you, okay, this is what I do. Get rid of them.
Yeah, I know you're absolutely right.
Get
And
rid of them. Look,
yeah,
you have no time or space no more. I mean, especially my time, I'm gonna be 54 this year. So I'm done. There ain't no more second chances with me. I give you one chance, one shot. Like Eminem said, you get one shot. That's it. You
yeah,
want to be
and
my friend? I stick my hand out, and you know what? What I'll do is every so often we have a conversation, and then eventually I'll meet you. Might take a year or two, but listen, if you want to be a friend, you have to show the qualities of a friend.
yeah, and what I hear you saying a lot is that you know friendship is dependent upon trust. You know, it's very difficult in this world to trust anybody and especially on YouTube because of the nature of the platform. But I will say this much: there are some very, very good people on YouTube that I consider my personal friends that I've met. You, Jimmy, being one, Chris is another one, Gunsmoke Chris is another one, Mustache Pete, Common Sense. These are good people. They're smart people. They know what they're doing on this platform and frankly in life. I admire Chris Ladrago and his program Addiction and Recovery for all the people whom he has helped. I've told Chris this many, many, many times. Whatever I can possibly do to enable him, to facilitate him, to make that program a success, that's where my passion is. Because, Jimmy, from your own family, you've lost people in your own family who've died from addiction and other problems. We need to step up and help kids today who are falling victims of fentanyl and fentanyl poisoning. My wife, has done extensive research on this. Last year alone in the United States, there were 136,000 people who died of overdoses, 86% of which were fentanyl overdoses, many of which were in the New York region, disproportionately so. We have a responsibility to help people, on YouTube and create platforms that serve, in my world, dismounted combatants, veterans. We don't talk about the veterans on the street that are homeless, who have fallen to the streets because of drugs and alcohol. We don't talk about that enough, and we should, as a community and as a nation, because we're not doing enough. These are very talented people, very, very talented people. The other thing, last thing I want to say is that, I know that there's a lot of people who have had unkind words to Stone Sailor. Okay, listen, folks. Rob is a friend of mine. Okay, he is. He's a friend of mine. He is a noble warrior who served this nation proudly. Give him that due. Okay, don't criticize him for what he chooses to do. Okay, we don't know the physical pain that he has suffered as a result of the injuries that he has sustained, which necessitates medical intervention. We don't know that. Okay, nobody knows that but Rob and his family. Give him a break. Stop talking about him in a negative way like people are. It's not appropriate. He is a wounded warrior. Secondly, he holds a special place in my heart because he trained dogs. Okay, when I was deployed in Afghanistan, the base next door to me was run by the Polish. Okay, the Polish ran all of the dogs in Afghanistan. They trained the dogs, all the bomb dogs and the drug dogs and whatever. People like Rob, that was their, that's what they did. Do you know how many lives those dogs saved? How many American soldiers they saved because of the training that people like Rob and his colleagues were able to do for the dogs? It's unbelievable. So give the guy, I don't agree with a lot of what he says. I give it that way. But listen, and this is the last thing I want to say about and on this about this subject. A lot of people can judge friendship by how much you have in common. Okay, but that's not necessarily what and how you judge a real friendship. It's not by what you have in common. Anybody can look and find somebody that you have in common. Okay, the real friend is the friend for which you have things that are not in common, and yet you're still close friends. Look at, for example, okay, let me give you an example. I'm sorry to harp on about this, but look at Gunsmoke Chris and Chris Ladrago. Gunsmoke Chris is a person of faith, deep and abiding faith. Okay, Chris Ladrago is not. He's a stone atheist. Gunsmoke Chris is a person who is on the more conservative side of the political sphere. Chris Ladrago is on the opposite side for the most part. Okay, Chris Ladrago is, on the air twice a day, religiously, what have you. Gunsmoke Chris, he's kind of a laid back kind of a guy. Okay, he is. He's a laid back kind of a guy. You could not find two more opposite people, and yet within their oppositeness, they find commonality and friendship. So that's all I want to say about that.
But Don, I tell you, you say it very well. Thank you. But look, going back in my past, and my friends were thinking back on those days. It really affects me a little. I think about Paulie G. Face down, dead, and you know what? I know there's another side. Paulie G was a murderer, and live by the gun, die by the gun. I understand that. I understand that. But not your own friend. Not with me. I mean, look, I wasn't born into this fucking mafia shit. Okay. I was growing up in the neighborhood of that mafia shit, surrounded by it. Little Giorgio Adamo's father was a wise guy. He was murdered. Eddie Leno baptized Georgie, kid, then Anthony Sparrow, then the wise guys in the neighborhood. You become friendly with them. I didn't ask to be a part of this shit. I don't want to be a part of this mafia shit. I would have been a sanitation guy. Got a pension after 20 years, took care of my family. That's all I wanted. But when you grow up in a neighborhood like that, you start learning the laws of the street, of what's right, what's wrong. What I mean? How you're supposed to act. I mean, you don't, you can't grow your hair so long. I mean, the way you have to dress a certain way. It's the truth. That's how it was back then. But looking back on my own friends killing my best friend, and I'm going to tell you something. I mean? I mentioned Paulie G, and I love Paulie G. I really did, because this guy, Paulie G, when I was a kid, he showed me a lot more friendship than other people in the neighborhood that I called friends. Okay.
Yeah.
And he put himself out there to protect each and every one of us. He really did. So when that happened with Paulie G, that really affected me.
Yeah.
And I was all for my friends growing up. I was all for friends. I mean? One for all for one. But then, you go through the motions of experiencing life.
Yeah.
And now I have a lot of good friends in my life, but all those childhood friends are either dead, in prison, and gone.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, so often, we talk about redemption, reconciliation, resolution, with one's past and what have you. We don't know and cannot understand necessarily how one falls victim to the streets, how one falls into the streets, most especially given the fact that, you came from a very fine family, a very good family, a loving mother and a brother, and a very talented brother. I mean, Jesus, Don is really talented, and your sister, and so on and so forth. And so, you have to ask yourself, so how does that happen? Okay. If it could happen to you.
Well, I'm gonna tell you how that happens.
Yeah.
When you don't have a man in the house.
Yeah.
And you understand that you're a greater force than your mother. Who's going to stop you? Who's going to control you?
That's right.
That's why it's very important to have those two parents in the house.
Right.
This way they could direct you. Because I have two children now, and let me tell you, it's very hard raising kids. It's not easy, because they go to a certain school, and then the teachers want to, teach them what they believe in, their values.
Well,
So the way the world is today, it's very hard raising children. Especially with this internet, everything's TikTok, social media. I mean, who's bullying who? If you don't have a right pair of sneakers on, they make fun of you. And this is what's going on in the world today. That's why everybody out there, look, forget about my past. My past is my past. I forgave myself. God forgave me. I forgave myself. And the thing is, what can I do with my platform, with myself, using my words to encourage people and to put a good word out there? What's wrong with putting a good word out there and doing the right thing? That's what I want to do. I mean, I see these people with a lot of hate. There's too much hate out there. Like someone just said, spread some love out there.
Yeah, right. There's an old saying. It's actually Italian and translated, and I got to remember what it is. But it basically is something like this. It says, "Judge me not from the road in which I have walked, but judge me for the road in which I walk today." Okay, judge me not from the road in which I did walk. Judge me on the road in which I am walking today. So I look upon that and say, listen, we say this in the addiction recovery programs as well. We all have many, many yesterdays. None of us have any guarantees for tomorrow. And God willing, if we're, sober enough, we'll make it through today alive. Okay. So we all have many yesterdays. And what I define as a yesterday is everything between black, white, and gray, and everything in between. Okay. Good, bad, and indifferent. Everybody has yesterdays. That's not the issue. It's, what you have been doing today, and what your plan is for today. One of the reasons why so people don't misunderstand, okay, and I want to make this again as clear as I possibly can. Chris Ladrago is my friend. He will always be my friend. Why? Very simple, okay? Because he's helping save lives on Addiction and Recovery Show. And that life may be yours, okay? It may be yours, or maybe someone you like, or maybe one of your friends, or maybe someone whom you love that had a dark moment, tuned into that channel or something like it, and decided maybe he was going to pick up that day. And if that's just one person that does that, then it's a success, okay? So I want to make it very clear to anybody who may be thinking in any other way other than that way, stop it. It ain't going to happen, okay? Do whatever you would like to do, but it ain't going to happen.
I want to thank Boston J for the $5 and Christopher Capello. Thank you. I appreciate it.
But anyway, going back to, what you were saying, like at the outset, we are, everybody is busy these days. I mean, you've got 2 children to raise, you've got a family to raise, and so forth and so on, a job, a career, and what have you. I don't know how you do what you do, because that drive down to,
look, and I slide in a lot of writing.
Yeah, right.
No, because I do want to put this book out there. You know what? Look, there's a lot of people, they put my name in hashtags, and some people have conversations about me. For example, the kid Jeff yesterday or the day after, he put a video. He was talking about me. Now the thing is, look, you're gonna hear it from me, okay? In my words, the truth about my life growing up. Okay. And I'm going to make it very positive and productive, because I don't want to slander none of my friends, because we all grew up, in all honesty, we all grew up with good families. And some of us had better opportunities than others. I mean, I grew up in a building. Fabrizio had grew up in the building for a while. Some people owned homes, but even the people who owned the homes, you know where they are today? They're dead. They're dead. Some of them because of drugs. Some of them were murdered.
Wow.
But
but something, Jimmy, dead is dead, no matter which way you're,
exactly,
whether you're murdered by the hand of another or you've murdered by your own hand, okay, because of drugs. Dead is dead. And one of the things that people have to realize is that, rather than taking, this kind of platform and that is an important platform. I don't have any misgivings at all about YouTube or MobTube or whatever you want to call it. It's entertaining. It's an evolving story with many, many different characters that come and go. They're interesting, kind of like side, shows and what have you that go on and what have you. But at the end of the day, we have to live life, okay, real life, okay. YouTube should not be your life. It should be a part of your life. Where you can, where you can make friends and what have you. YouTube, and this genre really got its blast off, if you will, as a result of COVID. COVID brought out some of the very, very best and some of the worst. I mean, it really did.
But just to change the conversation, what do you think about? What do you think about, since we're talking about YouTube? What do you think about all the content creators? Do you think some of them are jealous of others?
Yeah, there's no question about that.
Because you know what they say, right? I mean, anyone who attacks you, they're probably not doing better than you.
Right.
They probably got less subs than you. They're probably making less money than you. They probably don't look as good as you.
Yeah. I don't know if this is true or not. I'll throw this out. But I have a feeling that a lot of the resentment is derived from a sense of preachiness, which it isn't, but that's the perception that goes with the addiction and recovery platform. And folks, I'm telling you, that's not the way it is. Okay, it is not intended to be a pulpit or a place where we think we're better than you because we're sober and you're not, or what have you. We're there to help people who are struggling, who may be in recovery and still struggling, or who perhaps aren't in recovery but are trying to understand it. But there still is a lot of jealousy that is coming out sideways. I think what you're seeing is a lot of sideways, misplaced anger is what you're really seeing. That people are exhibiting and what have you. It's misplaced anger. They're not really angry at a particular person or whatever. They're angry at something else that's going on in their life. Okay, and it's misplaced and projected onto people.
And this is a good conversation because you have a little experience, psychology. Your wife has some experience. Now they say when people attacking people, they say that they don't like themselves. Do you think that that's true, that statement?
I think there's a lot of truth behind that. They have a lot of self-loathing, a lot of self-hatred, and they primarily are negative because they don't have any sense of self-worth. They're basically very insecure people because they can't see another person's half full quality. And so, a lot of the anger is misplaced. It comes out sideways. And then there are some, Jimmy, who, sadly, they're just mentally ill,
mental health issues.
Yeah, they're mentally ill, and they.
For example, I was trying to download this thing all day over here.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I don't have a lot of time. Yeah, I could do some typing and stuff like that, but I don't have a lot of time to get to know this laptop. I mean, I just bought this laptop. It's a brand new laptop, has a lot of memory in it and stuff like that. But I look at a lot of people, content creators on YouTube, in all honesty, and they figure this stuff out pretty good. You know what I mean? Maybe they take a pill and they're hanging out. Maybe 24 hours they're hanging out in front, they're trying to figure it out. I don't know. I got a life. I really do, Don. I got a couple friends. They call me every so often. They fly me down somewhere. I got to take care of my kids. I go to work. I pass by my aunt's house. I mean, I got a life. I really do. I got
Well,
a life.
yeah, but the thing is, Jimmy, you don't give yourself enough credit. Remember, being able to do all of these various different things on YouTube and what have you, for some is as easy as driving a car. Once you learn it, you learn it, and by repetition, they do it over and over and over again, and they get good at it. But to a person never driven a car in their lifetime, it's hard to get going with it. It just takes a lot of practice and repetition. Um, I'm a novice at operating the StreamYard business and whatever. When we started, just give you an example, when we started the show today, I was originally on my computer. Okay. I don't know. I don't understand this because when I was on the computer, okay, there was all sorts of echo and what have you. Now I'm on my iPhone, it's working perfectly inside StreamYard. So I got to figure, and yet the camera is not as good and what have you, and I don't look as good either.
No, your camera's pretty good.
Yeah, but I should be on my computer and what have you, doing this, but nonetheless, I give yourself more credit than that. And the other thing is this, as you said, you're busy. I mean, I'm busy. You wouldn't believe I got to work all weekend this weekend. I've got major, deliverables, if you will, come Monday. And so someone asked me recently, not to switch topics again, but going on to more like current events, if you will, besides the robbery and what have you. So someone asked me, so what is my view of how the war in Ukraine is going to turn out, okay, with Russia? Now, I will say this, okay, and I always preface it by saying this. These are my own personal opinions. They do not reflect that of the United States government, nor the Department of Defense or any other agency of the government. These are only my personal views. And also, more importantly, they are based upon information which is in the public space or public domain. So right now, I would say that I do not see a conventional and traditional exit ramp. What do I mean by that? So normally in war, there's an exit ramp by way of one side wins, the other side loses. Okay, that's one way. Another exit ramp is that both parties decide they're going to settle their differences and come to an agreement of some sort or another that's enforceable, settlement, okay, armistice, whatever way you want to call it. And then a third way is there's an interlocutor like China brokers a peace or an armistice, much like what you see in South Korea. Here, I don't see an exit ramp. The exit ramp right now is that of attrition. That is to say, this is a war of attrition. And both sides are basically wearing down one another, both their manpower, their equipment, and what have you. What concerns me, of course, is what happens when one side or the other gets to the point where they back the other against the wall so that they feel as though they don't have any options and they point themselves towards, something catastrophic. That would concern me greatly. Now, will that ever happen? Could. I mean, if it does, I would say stock up on iodine tablets,
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, really.
The iodine tablets, what do they do? What do they do? What do they use? That's for the radiation stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So Scott H asked, Don, do you think it will end nuclear? I do not. I don't think it'll end nuclear. I could be completely wrong. It's my personal opinion. Why do I say that? Because it doesn't give Russia, which is a nuclear state, any advantage on the battlefield. If they do a tactical nuclear weapon, there are too many disadvantages behind that, starting with the fact that many of their own people will get killed. And secondly, it would for whatever friends that they do have left, they would have none left, and particularly China. And China is acting as the clutch that prevents a nuclear event. However, that said, will Putin be the type that, if his back is against the wall, vis-a-vis if Ukraine comes across Crimea and heads south to the Baltic, fleet base, would he then do something like that? Never know. Never know. It's a big question, really. What he might do. So, I hope that answers the question. Probably doesn't, but and then Joe Root said, "What are they even fighting over?" What they're primarily fighting over is Russia's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, aren't they fighting over freedom?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Putin, he's the one who created this, right? He's the one who started this.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ukraine people, they don't want this war, but I mean, you got to fight back.
Yeah.
And they're doing a pretty good job.
It's surprisingly so, because according to all of the intelligence estimates and military estimates and everything else, at the outset of the war, it was going to be a 3-day affair, and that would be it. Nothing could be further from the truth. But back to Joe Root's question, what are they even fighting over? I think that Russia primarily believes that they would like to create the empire that they once were. Okay, before they lost so many pieces of the former Soviet Union. Putin, remember, came out of the old KGB, and when the Soviet Union imploded and created the Russian Federation in 1992 and what have you, or thereabouts, his view of the world changed dramatically, and it really affected him, his psyche and what have you. He was of the mind that he was going to make his life's career the recreation of the old Soviet Empire. So he truly believes in that, in the highly conqueristic quality, for the country. He also believes that Ukraine is not a country. Okay, he does not believe that they are a country. He believes that they are a part of the former Soviet Union and logically should be a part of Russia. And so therefore he simply believes that they should, be swallowed like a grape, literally. So that's what Russia's fighting for. Ukraine basically is fighting for their very survival. They lost Crimea, what have you, when they shouldn't have, because nobody stepped up in 2014 to protect them. And Putin miscalculated in 2022 that no one would step up to protect the rest of the Ukraine. Big surprise, okay? Big surprise. They did. Not only did the U.S., keep in mind, we're really a very small piece of what is going into the effort here, actually, because NATO is the one that, as the first line.
Not Don. Do we have any interest? Do we have any interest in Ukraine?
Do we have any interest? Well, let me answer it this way.
Of course we do, right? Of course we do.
Yeah. We have an interest in the fact that we do not believe one country can invade the sovereign territory of another and consume it, like, as I said, like a grape. The people who really have an interest, a direct interest, would be the NATO countries, for sure, and Europe. Because once they gobble up the Ukraine, it's just a matter of keeping on going,
Hey, Don.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this guy over here, Joey DeLuca. Hey, Jimmy, it was actually my friend's store that got broken into. Well, Joey, you know what? I'm looking for a Rolex watch. Okay. If you got the watches, call me.
Yeah. Well, I think that that you probably could get a similar one for about, a 50th of the price on the street. It could be counterfeit or what have you, but you'll not go to jail either.
No, absolutely. Well, on Canal Street, they got the counterfeits.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like for $10 or something.
Oh,
$10. You get a nice counterfeit. Just that the movement of the watch, it moves like a regular watch.
Right, right. But so Boston Jay said he has an Israel. Who is running the show? Meaning the Russia-Ukraine show or this show? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I assume the Russia-Ukraine show. That's the question.
Don's
Who's
running
run?
we're running the show. But Beck Brooklyn, being a smart guy is easy. Going to work and raising kids is much harder. You know what? I tell you, it really is. And
Yeah,
that's the truth.
yeah, it
A
is.
lot of look, a lot of these women, they don't even want to raise kids. They go like this, they give it to the guy.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to work. You take care of them. That's what's going
Yeah,
on today.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's and parenting today, is really, really tough. I mean, really, because of what you have to be.
Finding I think finding a partner in life
Yeah,
and someone that you're compatible with is tough.
that's true too.
You know,
That's true too. And then, whether or not you share the children with that companion or not, that even makes it even harder, you know, because, they, they're not the children's actual, um, um, parent or what have you.
think about, but also think about the percentage of divorces in today's
Yeah,
age. In today's age, the percentage
yeah,
of divorces.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And that goes to one of the kind of the other issues I was kind of like interested in talking about today, and that is the tearing away of the fabric of the family unit in America today is just mind-boggling. What's happening, in the country and to families today. Um, it makes enjoying family life very, very challenging. What do you think about that?
Say it again, Don, because I was just reading this comment over here.
What I was thinking about was where the country is today, and the political forces that are happening, which
I
are
think it's,
tearing away at the fabric of the family
think
today.
I think it's terrible. I'm going to tell you. I was watching Sammy the Bull the other day. He was he did an interview with Tommy G, this new
Mm,
guy, Tommy G. It was a pretty good interview. And
mm,
Sammy was talking about the mafia and years ago how the families, all our families, we stay together. The Italian families are really tight. Now today, who's going to school in another state? I'm saying, the mother and father, they both have to work. So you're juggling a career. So the family is very it's not as structured as it was years ago. I'm saying
yeah,
years ago there was more family oriented. You know what? You sat down at a table with your family. You sat down, you ate, you had a little conversation. Of course, as you're growing up, who wants to be around your parents? But
yeah,
your parents is going to give you all the best advice and love that you're ever going to need in your life.
yeah. It's amazing to say that, but when I grew up, my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, um, had a rule, okay, that you had to be at her dinner table on Sundays, or like it was execution time. Okay, I mean, I remember as a kid growing up, every Sunday I was always at my grandmother's house for Sunday dinner with my brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, and what have you. Every single Sunday, and you don't see that today. You know, Faith-based institutions, whether it's churches, synagogues, and whatever, look at their membership. It's going to shit. It's terrible.
Everything,
Um,
everything, Don, it
yeah,
has changed within the last 30 years.
yeah,
Everything has changed, even the
yeah.
school system. When I was
That's the
going to
worst.
school, okay, you had these other classes, some kind of trading classes where you can learn how to, you work with wood, you work with plastic, and they teach you certain things and they keep you busy and they keep you interested.
Right.
Today, all those classes are gone. The big thing today, as soon as you walk into a public school in New York, is the pride flag and all this gay stuff. Which you know what I mean? Look, there's nothing wrong. You want to be gay, that's fine. But the thing is, don't push it on other people.
Yeah, I mean, part of the thing that I've never
You know what else? I don't. You know what else? Sorry to interrupt. You know what else I don't understand? The other day, I'm in the car with my daughter.
Mhm.
Oh no, I'm on the phone, and after school, she wanted to hang out with two of her friends. I said, okay. I said, where you going? She said, I'm going to so and so. Okay, so I got her on the phone, 360. I know where she is at all times, and so I pick her up. I said, who's your friends that you hung out with? I picked her up at Dunkin' Donuts. Who's your friends you hung out with? She said, some girl, so and so, and some boy. I said, oh, hang out with boy. She said, no, he's gay. He's my gay friend. So I told. I said, why'd you have to tell me he was gay? But that's the thing. Right away, if someone's gay, everybody wants to know.
Yeah, identity politics and signaling and so forth seems to be a necessary crop, if you will, CROP, crop. When I don't understand why it's necessary. Okay, I mean, if you have to signal everything about every element of humanity, where does it begin and where does it end? That's the part of the thing that I don't get, and I mean this seriously. I just don't understand, and I wish someone would educate me so I could understand and appreciate where they're coming from. The woke community. So for example, let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Okay, so Fort Bragg is a special operations facility in North Carolina, in Fayetteville. And it has had that name for many, 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 many years. And now suddenly it's called Fort Liberty, okay, because they needed to change the name because it did something, okay? It did something. It meant something. It signaled something. All right. So my question is so that I can better understand this is by spending $7 million to change just the signage for Fort Bragg, how is that helping the woke community with more food, more clothing, more housing, more shelter, more something? Okay, what is it giving them? Okay, meaning what economic benefit are they deriving by changing $7 million worth of signs in order to accommodate a signal? That I don't get that.
I don't get it either. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I would understand it if it was a circumstance where the woke community said, that we are being disproportionately somehow or another cheated out of a benefit because we are of this class or what have you. That's not what they're really saying. What they're really saying is that this is our message, and if you don't agree with it, you're canceled. That's basically it.
Don, I wanted to share this with you. It came to my mind. I wanted to bring
Mhm.
this up, but while we're on it, so this country years ago, I love my country. I'm saying I love my country. I'm not crazy about the government. I'm saying who likes the government, but I'm a American. I mean, I love my
Mhm.
country.
Mhm.
So 2 weeks ago, my friend Joe calls me. I work with him. He says, Jimmy, I got this side job. I got a
Mhm.
trailer. Uh, the guy's gonna pull up. We just got to unload it. Within 4 hours, you make a quick $300.
Mhm.
Okay, I mean, I'm down. Let me do it. A couple other guys came, and the trailer I'm unloading is all the furniture is going into a VA institution.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
where all these men were served our country.
Mhm.
Okay, so I got to see what you get after you serve the country. I'm saying you don't
Mhm.
get much, I tell you.
Mhm.
You really don't. Like it was really, it bothered me. It was disgusting. Okay, it's
Mhm.
really all these men because they don't have nothing. They probably some of them are mentally disturbed. You know what I mean, because of what they've been through, what they've seen. So
Mhm.
we're bringing furniture in, and these people, in all honesty, Don, these guys live in prison cells. Okay, they create cells that are rooms. Okay, and they get locked down at nighttime around like 9, 10 o'clock, and they're dangerous to themselves and to others.
Yeah. Right.
So this is what I was seeing and looking at, and I said, wow. I said, you know what? Every man that serves this country and fights for this country, in all honesty, should own a home.
Yeah. No, I know. I agree with that. They should. We do not do enough for our veterans. We do not do enough for those people who have served as contractors and or DoD personnel that have been behind the wire in places of conflict. Um, a lot of people forget. Okay, for example, just not to wax philosophical or what have you, but at the height of the Afghan war in 2008, when the surge was happening and what have you, between 2008 and 2012, we had 133,000 boots on the ground. 133,000 boots on the ground. Okay. Now, in order for you to have 133,000 boots on the ground, each boot requires 8 people backing him up. So it's a ratio of 8 to 1 for each one of those warriors and warfighters. There's 8 people backing him up, whether that's the chef in the kitchen, the logistics guy, the aviation guy, the guy that puts the fuel in the plane, the guy that brings the food in, the guy that, whatever the role, the intel guys, and so on and so forth. But it's an 8 to 1 ratio. And oftentimes, and certainly in my case, I'm sitting next to the warfighter right in the conflict, okay, right on the front lines. I see what they see. I don't do what they do, maybe. Yes, that's true. Okay. I'm a support person. Okay. But I do see what they see. And I'm affected in the same way as they are, or could be, if I weren't trained enough, to withstand that. And yet, when the war ends and what have you, so many people that we don't even think about suffer from PTSD that are forgotten about entirely. The contractors, the people who are on the front lines with the warfighter that is supporting him, and their efforts and what have you, and the mission and what have you, that are seeing the same things. They leave when their contract is over, but they leave with the same nightmares, the same PTSD and what have you. And a lot of those people are the people you see on the street that have gone from war to war to war to war, and are terribly, terribly damaged. They're the ones that, oftentimes fall into drug addiction, alcoholism, and what have you, because they are the forgotten warrior. They are, and people forget about that. It's one thing to be one of the 138,000 people that were on the ground, the vets and whatever. And don't forget also, it's not 138,000 people that is a static force. It's a dynamic force. So they're constantly being rotated and changed. So it's much more than just 138,000 people.
Now, because of the time that we're in a different time, different age.
Yeah.
I mean, the war will be fought differently.
Yeah.
Years ago, they dropped the troops. They're not going to drop the troops like that no more. They just send the drones and they send I think they got the robots too now.
Yeah. Warfighting is becoming a completely different enterprise in the future and what have you. With unmanned vehicles or uncrewed vehicles. Now we're not even allowed to say unmanned vehicles. Okay, we have to say uncrewed, CREWED, crewed people. Vehicles. In other words, drones. So you're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see, impositional force using long range munitions and things of that nature, and the forward fighters, the war fighters that you traditionally have seen are going to be less and less. That's the way I would say it's going to go, and what have you. But I'm sorry that, at one hand, it's good that you were able to unload that load of furniture and help those people. But it's sad that, you know, that is what you had to see and what have you.
Yeah, it
Right.
was you know, it was very surprising. You know,
Yeah.
when I realized where I was, and my friend told me, you know, these are all vets. I said, well,
Yeah.
my first question was, you know, I saw how they live. In all honesty, they all have their own room. It's one room, like a prison cell, probably
Yeah.
the same, probably same exact size as a prison cell.
Yeah.
They don't have a TV in their room. They have a room that they go to the TV, a TV room, and they have a bed, light, just like a prison. Same. Look, the same bed, the same mattress as a prison.
Yeah.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
said, wow.
Yeah.
And then I asked, I said, do these guys do a stand-up 4 o'clock count?
Yeah.
Because you know, I guess because all the prisons throughout the country has to do a stand-up count to know
Right.
that you're alive. They want to know that
Right.
you're alive.
Right.
So that was my question. They got to stand
One
up.
speaking of prisons and what have you, I don't know if you read, there was a big, huge data dump out of the Bureau of Prisons, you know, from the Epstein case. So
You
what?
know what? I did go through that. I was breezing through
Yeah.
that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what do you make of that? I mean, I haven't paid too much attention to that thing and what have you, but it's like, you know, the primary thrust of all of the documents was that, like, the way they're trying to portray it, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but it was like this came right out of the blue. Everything was fine with him and what have you, and suddenly up and kills himself. Um,
And what they said was that he sent out a couple letters, right?
yeah,
I think to something press.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and in the letter, he was stating that there was a water running, right?
right,
I think there was water running, maybe from the toilet seat, the toilet bowl,
right,
and stuff, because
yeah,
that's exactly how prisons are set up. When you go into a cell, sometimes the water just keeps on going, like shh,
yeah,
and it
right.
becomes annoying. You can't look. Someone like Jeffrey Epstein, he could never ever live in that atmosphere of a
Oh
prison.
boy,
You know, this guy went from you know, gold statues to you know, islands,
yeah.
a 10 by 8 prison cell.
Yeah, that's that that is a very, very difficult
You know?
change.
And in the letter, he did say he said something about, you know what, you know, I might have to end my life like a coward.
Hmm. I didn't know that.
Something,
I
yeah,
didn't know that. Yeah,
something in that statement, something like that.
yeah,
But he did use the word coward,
yeah. Right, right.
right? And you know what, I could you know, I could look at this guy and I could, you know, say, of course he's going to kill himself.
I what I don't get is this. Okay, you would know better than I would, but um, here's a guy that it has to be the number one security risk in the entire MCC in New York City, a huge facility. Okay, so you would think that of all the people that they would be watching like extremely carefully every second of the day to make sure nothing happened to him because of you know because of what they would the price that they would pay, and yet nobody was watching him, you know, and allowed him to, you know, to kill himself. I don't understand how that could have happened.
You know what, Don? I think that there is some kind of conspiracy behind that.
Mm,
I
yeah,
really do, because of such a high profile that this guy was. I mean,
right,
this
right,
guy was so high profile. If I'm a security guard, okay, and
yeah,
I have to watch him, what is it for this guy to whisper in my ear? Listen, I'm gonna give you a couple million. I'm saying, could you get me out of here?
yeah, yeah,
I mean, because look, money is power.
right, of course, and especially, you know, I know they charged a bunch of the guards, you know, with criminal violations for having, you know, not, you know, been watching him and whatever and sleeping basically. But even so, you would think that they would have backup cameras, you know, looking at him, you know, 24/7, given his stature and the risk that he presented, you know. Um, and then the other thing I found, I didn't even know this, and that was that as a direct result of that case, the Bureau of Prisons shut down the MCC. Well, what's going to happen to that place? That's an enormous prison.
Yeah, they shut down. I think that's the one in Manhattan.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
I mean, I would think that they would have to shut it down and maybe remodel it.
I guess. I mean, it's been shut down since like
Let me tell you that MCC on the
yeah,
ninth floor. I mean, the hole. They throw you in the hole and they just forget about you. You
yeah,
know,
right.
I mean, that's to do that time, that whole time, you got to be very strong minded to do time like.
As I mean, that brings us back to the story, that Michael Franzese has told many times, on
And
how,
and because you mentioned Michael Franzese, I have to pitch his wine. So
yeah,
anyone out there, Michael Franzese, he has Franzese wine. I mean, check it out. Go on his website. Maybe you want to buy a case of wine or something. Uh, it's really good stuff. You should
yeah, and
wow.
I'm a friend of Mike's. I mean, I haven't talked with him a long, long time, um, but um, a lot of people, and this really kind of irritates me greatly. Um, don't believe in his conversion or in the faith in which he espouses. I can tell you, people, um, that everything that you see and hear from him about his faith and his belief and what have you in God and Christ and so on and so forth is as genuine as you possibly can imagine. This is who that individual really is. In the deepest part of his souls, his conversion, was as a result of the time that he spent in solitary. Um, on one of his darkest days, when he was in the cell alone for a protracted period of time. Um, he talks about how the slat to the door had opened, and a prison guard who had checked in on him and asked him if he was doing okay. And Mike responded, "Just leave me alone. I don't want to talk to anybody." And a few minutes later, the slat opened up a second time, and Mike heard this thump, on the floor, and ultimately he got up, and it was a Bible, and he began reading it, starting with the Psalms and some other uh, of the books and what have you. That was the beginning of his conversion in the darkest of hour, and that it came to him. And what's incredible about it is, think about the logic of this for just a moment. If it hadn't been for that fortuitous moment when a guard, okay, had just happened to pass by and dropped the Bible through the slat, and Mike happened to have heard it and happened to have picked it up, okay, none of this would have ever occurred. It was just that tiny little, if you will, candle flame that guard represented at that key moment in time for him that caused that conversion. My only point behind telling the story again is the fact that's what a friend is. Okay. That's what a friend is. It's that person who comes into your life when you least expect it and most need it, and brings to you that light when you are in the darkest hour. That's a
And,
friend.
absolutely, and they don't give you aggravation.
No,
They
no,
they don't bring drama to your table or to your doorstep.
no, no. Who wants that? It goes back to your question before, about, why do, certain content providers have biases or hatred towards others or what have you. Well, the only thing I can say is what I've always said: healthy people attract healthy people, and sick people attract sick people. That's a reality in not just YouTube world, MobTube world, but in life's, you know, transactions. That's true. Healthy people attract healthy people, and sick people attract sick people.
It's
And
the
if you can
truth.
get yourself as healthy as you possibly can, in whatever way in which you can, I promise you, I guarantee you, you will attract other healthy people into your life, and you will be happier for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, sometimes you need to just work on yourself.
Yeah,
You need to
yeah,
work on yourself, right? I mean, you see something that you got a habit of, quit the habit.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe use the word the F word too much. Stop it.
Right,
You
Right.
slow down. You know,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
reinvent yourself.
Right. Right. Yeah, and listen, economic times occur that result in people losing their jobs. Um, Sometimes people lose a family member, a wife, a spouse, a child. Okay, and they have to come back and be and try and live another way. Because those are devastating losses. They have to recover from those losses, and move forward. Um, it's very, very difficult to do that. I can't even imagine, Jimmy, in my mind or heart, what it would be like for a parent to lose a child. I can't even imagine that. Devastating. Okay.
Forget.
Um,
I think about that because I see people losing their. I mean, you hear all these terrible things on the news about these young kids getting killed, and it's like they're so young. And
yeah,
I put myself in these parents' shoes. It's like insane. It's so sad. It
it
really is
is.
sad. I mean, life is so precious.
Right. Right.
Once you're gone, you're gone.
And see, the horrible thing is that not only has the child been lost and that life has been lost, but then the double whammy, if you will, for the parents is that they are haunted by recrimination, by self blaming themselves. What did I do wrong? What could I have done to stop this? Why didn't I see the signs? How come I didn't see him, devolving into darkness such that he started to drink and use drugs and what have you? How did I miss these clues? And on and on and on. And they live a life of that. Unless they somehow or another, get beyond that.
I
It's
have
it's
I have war over here.
yeah,
Lost my little baby granddaughter 6 months after my wife died. But you know
right,
what? War. My heart breaks for you.
yeah,
It really does. My heart breaks for you. I could
yeah,
only imagine what you go through. The only thing I
right.
can say is stay strong and give it to God. That's all I can say. Stay strong and use your voice, your words to encourage other people and your trauma. You can use that as to help others. And I hope you do. Words, me saying something is easy, but my heart breaks for you, 100%.
Well, Jimmy, I know War personally. He's another person, that I met here that is truly a friend. Um, uh, War has, in his prayers, um, for for me and for others, has helped immeasurably. He is truly a special soul. Um, and my heart also breaks for him. I know the suffering in which he has talked about. I'm not going to get into what we talk about privately, um, but just let me say this, to him and to everybody that has similar kinds of losses and what have you. You know, as Jimmy said, at some point you have to give it up to a higher power or to God to be able to move forward. I've said this saying that I learned in Afghanistan from a military chaplain in a story that he talks about when he said he was asked the question, where is God in all of this insanity? Okay, well, whether the insanity is on the war fields and the mountainsides of Kandahar and Mazar Sharif and all the places I've been to in Afghanistan and the Middle East and whatever, whether it's there or whether it is on YouTube or MobTube or what have you, God's place in all of this is to be by the side of the dead and the dying. Okay, that's what he does best. That's what he has a long resume that has been perfected over the years, is to care for the dead and the dying. And then I asked the same chaplain, I said, well, so what's our place in all of this? And he said, our place in all of this is to be by the side of the people who are left behind. And look up into the heavens and ask why, and hear back nothing but silence. That's our purpose. We're that voice that fills the silence when people look up into the heavens and ask why and don't get back an answer. You know, that's what God's intent is, I believe, for all of us to be present in the lives of the people who are left behind. So that's, you know, kind of my look at it.
Well, War, I don't know you personally. I think I seen you in a chat a couple of times. I might have seen you on FBS's show. You know, look, my Gmail is therealjimmycolangelo@gmail.com. If I could do anything for you, whether it's an air, whether you know, you need someone to talk to, listen, you know, I'm always good to listen, you know, and like I said, just stay strong, give it to God. Hopefully someday you see them again. And I'm trying to, you know, be positive. So
Yeah,
I can only imagine what you're going through. But you got to stay strong because your daughter wants you to stay strong.
true, true. Another hero that of mine. I don't know him personally, but I've seen a lot of his chats and what have you. But I sure would like to meet him, and that is Anonymous Legion. And feel free to reach out to me directly. My email address for all my YouTube business is D Delta A Alpha MB 2020 at protonmail.com to anybody, including Anonymous Legion, excuse me, I apologize. And I'm sure that we could break cyber bread, if you will. A lot of stories and what have you, because both of us come from approximately the same, you know, community and what have you. So DAMB 2020 at protonmail.com is where anybody can reach me on the YouTube platform.
There you go. If you want to reach out to Don Berlin, he just gave you the info. Reach out to him. And like I said, anything we could do for you people, just don't ask us for money.
Right. Yeah, right. Or money or women's or watches. We don't have any watches either. All right. No watches.
Don, we're on an hour, 22 minutes. If you want
Yeah.
us to stay on a little longer, we can. I want to give a shout out to Guy P. Thank you for the $9.99. Ryan Brown, thank you. Couple people in the chat. Big G 484. Thank you for showing up. Josephine Colombo, the first time I see you in my chat, thank you for showing up. Gary Monteleone, Boston J, Joey D. I see Joey D's in there asking me for a link. Anonymous Legion, and you know, everyone who showed up. Thank you so much. I really appreciate Donna Luch. Thank you. I haven't seen you before, but I appreciate each and every one of these. Look, and look, just if you can, give a kind word to other people. Okay, we need more kind people in this world.
Yeah, truly. I want to end my part of the show with addressing the quote elephant in the room. Okay. And I didn't want to start out the show this way because I didn't want it to degrade the show. I personally find it offending and outrageous that I would be involved in the dissemination or distribution of anything from the US government. I don't care if it's classified, if it's unclassified, restricted access, sensitive data. It is an outrageous and slanderous fabrication. I have never violated my oath to the United States of America or my national security oath for anybody, for any reason. I personally am offended by that. And let me tell you something for those who are listening. This day you will rue, okay? You will rue. Because that statement, those claims are so patently false. You have no idea what you're talking about. No idea whatsoever. I have never, ever given anybody anything that ever was sensitive data, restricted access data, government data, classified data, whatever you want to call it. Never has happened. It's a complete fabrication. And this con that is being perpetrated upon you, okay, ultimately, I promise you, is going to be found out as being just that. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right, Don. Well, guys, listen, we had a great show. I liked it. There was a lot of conversations. I want to come on tomorrow. I'll talk to Don about it. Hopefully, maybe we could get an early showing maybe tomorrow, maybe 2, 3 o'clock. We're going for an hour. Maybe we'll have a different conversation, something new.
Yeah.
Look, I like to come on YouTube. You know, I like to share my life with you. I like you guys to share your life with me. But listen, let's all help each other. It'll be a better world, a safer place. And, you know, thank yous again for showing up. I appreciate everyone who donated to the channel. Thank you again. It's very kind of you.
Plus, you know, there's a lot of new stuff going on. You know, there's a lot of new things to talk about that are in the news that are really interesting to a lot of people in the chat or what have you. And listen, anybody, you know, like 2 things, you know, that I want to leave you with. If there's things in which you want us to talk about or ideas that you have, you know, we're going to get better at doing this. The technical glitches and what have you. It's just we'll do better. I promise you that. In getting, you know, here on time and what have you. A lot of it is not Jimmy's fault and my fault more than anything else. So don't blame him. Blame me.
Now, you know what? Before you go, but I want to. You don't got to stay on. You don't got to stay on for this, but I do want to drop a link for Joey D, because Joey D just made a comment on here.
Oh boy.
What the F, Jimmy? Don't waste my time anymore. You know, Joe, when I met you, in all honesty, you were a kind guy. I think maybe you're changing a little. You know what I'm saying? You know, you asked me to drop a link. How many times now? 10 times? When I'm ready to drop the link, I'm going to drop the link to you. Okay? This is my show. Okay? I don't need you to keep on telling me. All right? So, I mean, I don't know if Don wants to stay on when I drop the link.
I will stay on for as long as you want to stay on. It doesn't bother me. Joey, you know, I mean, whatever, you know. God bless you, Joey. That's all I say.
I want to drop a link for Joey because Joey obviously has something to say. But you know,
okay, but before you do, Joey, listen, please, okay, be calm. Okay, I want you to be calm. I'm going to listen to you. Come up for air so I can, you know, kind of like respond to you, because I do want to respond to you. And fundamentally, you know, I do like you and I love you. You please know that. But be calm, okay? Just do me that favor. All right, Joey. So take it and go.
Good job.
All right.
So let's wait for Joey to come on. Let's see what he has to say. You know, Joey has a lot to say, a lot going on in his life. You know, he calls me a lot. You know, he wants to talk to me a lot, and you know, I wish I had more time for him. But the thing is, with my life, in all honesty, new things are coming up. I'm saying I'm getting into, you know, some things I thought that would never interest me. You know, but they do.
Right.
So you know, life is you know, life is funny. You know, you start one way, you end up another way.
Right. No, that's the beauty of it. It is a constantly evolving, you know, kind of world that we live in, and that includes our own life. You know, hey, listen, if that were not the case, okay, think of it this way. Excuse me. If that were not the case, then you would not have evolved away from the life in which you once lived into the life in which you are in today. So life is always changing, and it should. If it didn't, we would all be stuck in, you know, in the place in which we don't want to be sometimes.
So I got Joey D over here. Okay, let me see what Joey D has to say.
He said, okay.
My man.
Don't,
now,
you
Joey,
say I'm
listen,
funny? You're gonna say I'm funny? You said I'm funny? You said I'm
calm.
funny? Who said I'm funny? You say I'm funny? Jimmy, did you say I'm funny? Did you say I'm funny?
Yeah, what do you want to say?
You hold on, let's start. Hold on, Jimmy. You did tell me you told me you dropped me a link at the end of the show.
Yes,
that's what you told me, and then you were getting ready to leave. So that's why I was saying that don't waste my time, because look, my time is bad, but you know that. I'm not saying that you can do what you want to do. You know I love you. Come on, you put money on my commentary.
Joey, let me ask
you already know that. I got me some soup. I got me some soup. I got me some coffee. Of course, I love you.
Are you back at the store that you were once at, where you worked?
I'm gonna be just for a little bit because I'm moving to LA. You know, I got some big dreams and stuff. Look at this right here. This is this place I'm in called the Union Place. All out here in the rain, really nice. They make some nice drink. I had a salad with some. I went off by the lake today. But no, I'm out. Hey, John, you did what you needed to do. That's what I want to see. We keep it real. I don't think that's you anyways. But I'm telling you, because I mean, that would really be stupid. And at the same time, you address it. And that's all it is. You dress it, you leave it, you left it at, hey, you address the elephant in the room, because that's what people did want to come and see. You know that. And the thing is, your name is, look, I respect you. I love you. You're in the inner circle with me. We love each other. But Don, don't never let any of these people manipulate you for you. And some of these guys on YouTube are trash. I don't care what they say to you. They're trash. They only want views. They use Jimmy's name for views. They're going to use you. And if anyone I'm going to tell you something. I don't believe that you did that. But even if you did, and someone would tell other people and say, hey, this is what this guy did for me, that's wrong. And I'm going to tell you something. They just misuse your trust, because I know you, Don. You have integrity. And I know that the work you do, you really, and your wife is beautiful people. And you love Jimmy. And I always loved you guys as a friend. I'm always keep it real. That's why Michael, I keep it real. That's what I do. That's why he liked me. He said I remind him of his guys in his club. You heard him say that. And me and him are gonna meet up on the 24th. Yeah. I love Michael, and he loved me. He's gonna put me in this TV show. I got another TV show I'm gonna be working on. You'll see things I'm gonna be doing later, and you guys are gonna be shocked. But all I'm gonna tell you is, I love when people underestimate me. Because one thing I do know, you are someone that's gonna handle personal information with integrity. You are a man of integrity. Whoever put your name into that, whatever they're doing, shame on them. But I'm just telling you, I don't think you have. This is Jimmy's show, and I think you should just keep my honest opinion. You go to Sammy or Michael, stay to certain platforms, because some platforms are not really worth it, because they get you involved in drama, and you don't need that in your life. Your wife doesn't want you to have that in your life. Your name should not be on there for some of the work you do. Okay, your people want to. Someone can make assumptions that something is true, and you need to have people's trust. That's the first thing. And I know you do. I know the government. I know you're dealing with a lot of sensitive stuff.
Well, look, I'm not going to stay on too long.
And I love you. You know that.
I mean, look, YouTube has a lot of negativity on it. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
They want to draw other people involved in it. They want to put other people involved in it. Okay.
That's right.
It's people they don't even know. People they don't even know.
Hey, listen. This is the person who she made my drink today. Alyssa, tell them what you made my drink. What's the drink called? She made me a mango Mai Tai. You see that? And this is the best mango Mai Tai I ever had. This is my friend Jimmy. It's my friend Don.
I appreciate that. But listen,
I love
Joey,
Don. I love you. You know that, and I respect you.
I do.
Know
that.
And
listen, Joey, I appreciate your kind words. I do, and I respect you gratefully.
That's
you know that.
YouTube.
So,
YouTube.
But I want to thank you for coming on to share that. It means a lot to me.
You know, I'm never ever gonna. I had to address this thing. And now look, last week you said a couple of things. I'm not gonna address it again. I'm not allowed to. I'm working on something. But I'm telling you, I sent him the report. He can send it to you. I'm telling you the truth. What happened was I got profiled. They probably thought I was this or that. Who knows? It's by a military base. We don't know all the situation. They probably want to make sure I was cool and I was all right. You know what I mean? That's probably the real deal. They probably like, we got to make sure this guy on the up and up. Because we're right by the military base. And I'm walking through a military base. I'm right next to the military base. The MPs are cool with me, but they'll probably say, hey, situations are kind of strange. It's not always happens every day. Someone's dead dog died and he's carrying him. We got to make sure he's cool. And that's probably what happened. It's all right. I can survive anything. I'm a tough person. You know what I mean? A lot of my friends are retired Navy SEALs. A lot of my friends are Special Forces. So I do know people like you, Don, okay? So I'm just want to say is, I respect you. You know what I mean? I respect you 100%.
Let me just respond by saying, Joey, you have to understand one thing, okay? And that is that we are very, very sensitive as to anything that gets near, about, around, or in a military facility. Why? Right. Because look at what happened in Navy Yard. Look what happened in Fort Hood 1, Fort Hood 2.
Oh, you remember that? Yeah. You remember that? Yeah. Remember what Richard Masenko did? Red Cell.
Yeah, exactly.
And I actually I was trying to apply for his securities way back when, man. He got it born in Virginia, so I know I'm familiar with security. You know that. So I've been with the biggest companies. Right. Okay, but like DF Goodrich, they have Department of Defense stuff there. Right. So I know security, bro.
Yeah, I understand. So take that. I mean, that's part of the issue, though. But nonetheless.
But I understand that. But like I said, I respect you. Look, Don, you already know that how we are. You know how we are. And I want to come out there one day to your home with Jimmy. I want to go out there and check out the Virginia. And when I'm out in LA, you ever want to come out, you come out and see me because I'm moving out that way. You know what I mean? And listen, you know that. You know that.
Well, good luck in Los Angeles when you get there.
But you didn't send me my Apache helicopter. I'm still mad at you for that. I could have got on that rope. There was no rope over me on that yard. No, I know that, but I love you. I love you. But listen, man, address the room. That'll fit. You did it. Move on. We're gonna move on from it. We're not gonna address it no more. But be careful which shows you go on. This one here is a very credible. Jimmy really has a good heart. He know I love him. I get on Jimmy. Jimmy know what's up. Tom Malcolm is nice. You know what I mean? Give me a break, Jimmy. Come on. Give me a break. Yeah. This guy always has to get on me, man, for that.
Yo, hold up. I want to give a thank you to Big G for the 199.
Right.
I appreciate that, Big G. Very kind to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Big G. Jimmy, send me 50 of that. I still need a little extra. No, no, you know what I'm saying? So listen, I'll be in New York. I get to New York. Me and Jimmy gonna go out. I owe him dinner. He got me some, put some money on my account. So I appreciate that. But at the same time, look, Don, like I said, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Man. I ain't gonna BS you. You know what I mean? I understand what you were trying to say, but I just like to say, I like to keep it real. And I know you understand. I think you got a little picture of what YouTube does. They take something, a little thing, and they can bring it out. And when you said that comment, that's why I was upset about it, because they can take a little thing and think that, just like they did with you. And we know it's not true, right? Yeah. Now you see, sometimes God has a way for all of us to open our eyes and see what's happening. So maybe that was your lesson.
A lot of truth behind that, but fortunately for me, I didn't say anything. I did not say anything.
I know you
do anything. As I said before, and I'll make it very clear again,
right?
Those statements are slanderous on their face. Okay, they are false, and they never ever happen. It's a
just keep good. Remember what Michael says. I'll show me who your friends are, and I'll show you who you are. So keep that in mind always. I'm telling you, because you're a good man, and people can take advantage of you.
And you know what?
Even though you're strong, I know they better not take advantage of you because they don't know what they're messing with.
That's so true. That's so true. You just said. You show me who your friends are, and I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you
100%, 100%. And I'm just telling you, Don. You already know how we are. I hope, like you said, you already know. You know how I'm always been like this. You know that, even with Michael, and you know that. Okay. Yeah. And then on the Zoom calls, same with Jimmy. I am who I am. I got a lot of opportunities coming ahead of me. I want to shout out to a couple of things like Michael Fancy's wine. I would have had it today, but I'm out. But it is a great wine. I have it all the time. And then I'm gonna tell you, he's coming out here June 24th in my hometown. We're gonna celebrate. And then at the same time, Joey Yo. Ohio. It's gonna be in my hometown the 24th. Exactly. They got it on the billboards. I can show you out here on the billboards, man. He's gonna be out here. He's gonna be out here, man. Let me show you. I'm gonna show you, man. Like it's right down here. I'm gonna show you where he's gonna be. Right downtown. Yeah.
Hey, Joe, don't go out of control, okay? Don't get out of control.
That's what. Come on, everyone. Look, you guys know that Jimmy. Where's the commercial at when you need it? The heck, man. Where's the commercial? Look, he's on the billboard down there. He's going to be right down the street, right there at the billboard. It says Michael Francis. I should walk down and show y'all.
Anthony,
I don't mind walking.
Anthony, I got to send you that package.
Let me show you. See right there. Coming down. He's going to be right in this downtown. And Don, you better send us a ticket one day. Me and Jimmy come visit you. You don't never call me. I don't get no love from Don. I would have called you from jail, man. I was like, man, call. I swear, I said, Don, call Don. He could speak for me. Tell him he got connections. Tell him, get my boy out of here, man.
No, that ain't gonna happen, Joe. I'm afraid. All I could do is refer you to a good lawyer.
Let's go. See, we're gonna be right down at this building. He can be right down this building right here. Okay?
All right.
He can be right down. Right. At this building, it's called. Let me get down so you can see that. Let me right down so you can see that. And I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna come right there. I'm gonna show you right here.
You're breaking up so badly I can't hang through.
Yeah, but this is live. This is live stuff, Don. Now you're gonna have to, we're gonna show you how to do a live show. This is live.
But Joe, look, let me go.
I'm coming up to it right there. Palace Theater. You see it down there? Palace Theater. All right, let me let you go.
Hey, Don, before I forget.
Let me get back. They probably thought I ain't paying for my food. They thought I left through here. He owed the money. Yo. What's up?
Listen.
Okay,
I love you. I'll see you soon.
Okay, hold on. I love you, Don. I love you. Look, all of us, like I said, you know what I mean? Be cool. All right? Be cool out there, Boston J. Y'all. Hey, Beck and everybody out there, Louis K. We love you, and stay on this show. This is the only place you should be exclusive to. That way people need to come and see Don. They got to come and see Joey D. They got to come here. Jimmy Show. All right, love y'all.
Yo, I love you.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, my God.
Joey D. But,
Ugh.
yeah, Big G, thank you very much. I appreciate it. To all the people who showed up tonight, thank you. Hold up. Let me okay. I'm just getting him out of here. Joey D. Okay.
You gotta clean out the studio. I can see all these people lined up waiting, trying to get in there. American Legion, thank you for your email. I'm gonna respond in a second. Okay, I got it. Now, after the show, when I get off the air, I'll respond.
Yes, but Don, I wanted to. I was reading an article. While I want to say it before I forget about Ohio. All these children, like 27 children, disappeared within the last year in Ohio.
You know, I heard about that. I don't even get that. How's that possible?
Exactly. So there's something going on. We should try to do a little more research, and maybe we can have a discussion about it.
Send me the link to that. You know, I saw that story and then I couldn't back up and find the link. Send me the link to that, okay? Privately. I'm gonna look at that. I'll do some research on it.
And Don, thank you for coming on today. I appreciate it. And it was a great show.
Thank you.
Everyone that showed up, thank you. I mean, Don, if you have any last words, go ahead.
I don't. I've said my words and I've chosen them carefully.
Okay. And hopefully maybe me and Don will be on tomorrow. I would like to, come on tomorrow. Maybe we can have a discussion about something that's interesting. And until then, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you all. Everyone have a great night. Stay safe. Give your life to God. Do the right thing. Help others.
God bless everybody. God first, stay strong, and stay sober.
Donna, see you tomorrow.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. See you guys. The streets will never make you grow. It's not a seed. It's a gutter. There's no happy endings in this life. So this is my message to you. The streets will never love you back.